The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up early with us on this Wednesday morning. If you haven't already, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you're watching, especially if you have some friends that usually watch on Twitter, because we're in day 3 of Twitter acting. And so we still need to encourage those that usually watch on Twitter to hop over on Facebook and YouTube to watch Jackie and I live, because we have yet another feel good conversation for you. Today, we're going to be talking about art, specifically Bermuda's art community. And we're going to be discussing some local artists that we can support, our favorite art types, and all of that good jazz. So make sure you stick around for that. And if you want to laugh to get your morning started, do make sure you hold your horses and wait for our feel good vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. She shares the corniest dad joke she finds, and either I try to guess the answer or we just all get a good laugh together. Now, to get us started for our show today, we're actually going to be talking about something we saw recently on the socials. So Operation Vega is in full effect, and there was a 102 speeding ticket given out to someone. We don't know who, because they don't put that information out there. But we wanted to talk to you all about speeding tickets. Have you gotten any? And what's the fastest speed you were going for said speeding ticket? Jackie, first of all, have you gotten a speeding ticket? Are you a Speedy Gonzalez?
I got one speeding ticket. And
Okay. And it was what?
It was it for 59 or 61?
Oh, I think you said it was yesterday. I was like, huh?
No, I ride so slow now. I ride 55 max.
Okay.
I don't ride that fast.
What is the speeding limit? Is the speeding limit like 35?
35.
Okay.
But I mean, that's slow.
I wonder, because when we had the Honorable Dennis Lister on earlier in the week, I don't think we asked about Operation Vega, or even some of the, because that is an initiative that I wouldn't say that his council put together, but it could have been. But just I wonder if they think that that's effective. Like, was it 51 odd tickets that were?
For example, I freaked out and I was just like, oh my God, my tickets, it was my first ticket. I've only had one. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so expensive. And everybody's just like, no, it's not. It's like $300. And I'm like, it is still a lot of money, but at the same time, people have shoes that cost more than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's still cheaper than a plane ticket. So
it is still cheaper than a plane ticket. Absolutely.
I just don't, like, a lot of people just brush it off. Like, that's just time off the road. Or I'm just like, wait, so you just don't care about how much you're spending on a speeding ticket?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess for me, the person that thinks about the budget, I'm just like,
that's unnecessary spending.
Yes, one. And for what? Like, I never really understood the concept of speeding in Bermuda, to be quite honest.
Thank you. It's only big.
Particularly after I left and spent 7 years in Atlanta, because the 102, like, honestly, to get up to that speed is not normal. Like, it's not like you have to have a layered foot to get into the 80s and 90s and to the hundreds of speed in regular traffic. Like, if you're a NASCAR driver, if you're doing Formula One, totally different situation. Those cars are meant to go fast. outside of this normal conversation. But when you're just regular driving, like to get to 80 miles per hour is wild to me sometimes.
As I'm sitting here, I'm navigating Bermuda, and I'm just like, there's only so many stretches that you can be on to hit that speed. So at some point, you're going around a corner, and a lot of Bermuda's corners, even though the corners that they're still like semi-blind corners, so you could come around the corner, and people just park anywhere. And all I'm thinking about is somebody that has potentially illegally parked.
Yes.
Quickly hop out, get something, and hop back in. And next thing you know, another vehicle, bike, car, because we don't know if it was a bike or a car that got that 102 speeding ticket, but boom.
Yep, NASCAR. You know, you've seen those accidents when those cars that are going those speeds. It's difficult, if not impossible, to navigate around something that just in the split second is right in front of you that you didn't anticipate. And like you said, God forbid you get in an accident, and that's like could be lights out depending on how fast you were going. And if you're going 102, I can't imagine getting an accident at that speed.
And when I went and sat in the courtroom, I was just like, I knew that I went that speed, so I was just like, guilty.
Right.
Yeah. But other people were just like, guilty with an excuse. And I'm like,
what excuse could you?
Well, I was racing to pick up my daughter, and I was just like, but you were doing 80. So what happens if you don't make it because you're speeding and you couldn't react in enough time to slow down or stop?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in the hospital, and your daughter's waiting for you to pick her up.
Yep.
So now you've put the strain of, my dad got in an accident racing to get me. Now she feels guilty for existing. Nah, man. Slow down.
Exactly. I want to bring this comment here from Janae, because we're asking the audience, if you're just joining us, go ahead and let us know in the comments if you've ever gotten a speeding ticket and for what speed you got it for. Janae says, I got one way back in the day when I was a teenager. I can't remember the speed, maybe 50 or 60. I feel like the 50-60 range is generally where most people start to get their tickets. As we mentioned, the speed limit is 35, and most people do drive up to the 50s when they're driving or riding. So those seem like normal speeds for people to go. However, it is still kind of mind-blowing when it gets beyond the 60s and 70s, because it's like, at what point do you kind of just think to yourself, maybe I'm like, does it not feel fast? Like, yes, the intention of speeding is to go faster, right? But sometimes it feels like uncontrollably fast when you're going when you're going at certain speeds. Like when I used to hit 90 on the highway, it used to feel weird, just like going that speed consistently. Mind you, there was no traffic, so that's why we were able to get to those speeds. But still, it still felt like a little odd.
I've gone back to 102 on the highway, and that was, I mean, it was common. People were overtaking me, and to me, I'm like, oh, maybe I should actually be going a little faster. I don't know what the speed limit was, and then you pass, you're like, oh wait, no, this is a 90 zone, so you do the 100, the extra 10, whatever. But it doesn't feel like you're going fast, but it doesn't feel like you're going slow. It just feels like you're going.
I guess maybe it's just there is something someone said. I don't know if it's vertigo or something, like where you feel like you're like out of it. It feels like to me, like when I went like 90, it felt like just not an out of body experience, but it definitely did not feel normal. So I came back down to 80, and then I felt better. But and I guess because Ludacris said like 90 on the highway and 85, 75 are the highways in Atlanta, and so in the song it kind of came to my mind. I was like, oh, so this is what he was rapping about. No, I can never do this again. No, thank you.
It is a fun adrenaline rush. Like if I got the opportunity to do something like Need for Speed, I get it. Like I do it, but I'm not gonna do it I'm not gonna do 90 and 100 in Bermuda. I just feel like there's so many inconsiderate parkers.
And not only that, like, you know, like you said, like that quick, let me hop in, hop right back out. And generally speaking, most people have those moments where it's like, I'm only going to be in for a quick second, and then it's not a quick second. So then it's like, yep. So when it comes to this, coming from Carlton Fleming, he says, one ticket I was giving 53 kilometers going uphill.
It sounds like you had a 50 and you had to go fast.
Yeah. Like, that doesn't sound like a scenario where I would want you to get a ticket. Like I would want you to get a ticket on a straight where you're going that fast, because then it's like that makes sense why you were speeding. Like I would like a little bit of reason. Like up a hill, you probably need to.
Yeah.
A
Going
little
down,
bit.
you know that you're about to pick up even more speed.
So you range.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an
I don't
unfortunate
speed
ticket.
anymore. I don't. I feel like 60 is probably the max I will go, but it'll be like nobody else is on the road. You're not even
Right.
realizing, and it just feels like you're cruising. But the lower the car is, the faster I feel like I'm going. If I'm in a high car, I feel like I'm going nowhere.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because you guess the air underneath the car.
Like if I've driven my dad's car, his car is really low. I feel like 35 is speeding, and I'm like, no, the road is moving by way too fast.
Because you could see it. Gotcha. I want to bring this comment from Janae because it actually aligns with what you're saying. She says, I ride borderline like a tourist. People are really wild in these roads. I feel like every time I'm on the road, I almost witness an accident. And I think, Jackie, you have mentioned that one time there was a gentleman like doing the third lane.
Mm-hmm.
And the third lane, that's a whole nother conversation that we could talk about for sure.
The third lane bothers me because it's like in Project Ride, you're taught how to ride down the middle, right? So you have you're taught to ride down, do a U-turn, and come back. And then when you actually do it and execute, like say in 9 o'clock traffic on East Broadway, when the traffic's going the same way, and you're riding third lane, if police are out, you'll get pulled over for it.
But isn't that intended for you to ride in the middle of a lane, not the middle of the two lanes? That's what that particular training session is literally for. You're supposed to be in the center of the lane so that in the event that someone pops out, you have enough space to maneuver your bike. People literally just changed that and made like, this is how you ride the third lane. Wow. Like, I'm like,
and I've been in traffic where I know the police are out, so I deliberately won't ride the third lane.
I mean, if you don't want to get a ticket, that makes sense.
Right.
But
you
I don't want to encourage people to do
like,
the third lane.
And be like, right. And I'm already out the way. So people that's just in the way, I'm like, either get out their way or ride. These are your options.
Basically.
Like, sit there. But anyway.
That is funny. I actually want to bring this comment from JD because we're still talking about, if you got a speeding ticket before. So JD says, I was 16 and was going maybe 60. I learned my lesson really quickly because I had to spend the next 5 weekends working to make the money for the fine I knew was coming.
Absolutely.
Ooh, and imagine at 16. At 16, you don't have $300. You're not working a position where you can possibly reallocate your $300. So or I don't know what it was at the time. But whatever it wasn't money she just had sitting in her bank account for sure, not at 16 anyway, unless she did and chose to work. So talking about the third lane, I think Judy says, I am the same. I stick close to the left so that no one can overtake me on the inside. The inside overtake us.
I don't I don't sit in traffic anymore. So if I know that I have to make 9 o'clock, I leave home at 7:30 and I'll go sit off somewhere. I refuse to be in that traffic because I could navigate the third lane with ease and it doesn't bother me. It's the people that trying to overtake me while I'm riding down the third lane like there's enough space. And yes, they do exist. Where the two I'm like, yo, what are you doing? It's not necessary for you to go 60 down the third lane. I go like maybe 5. I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Like I'm balancing, like just keeping the balance.
She said, I cannot stand her.
Down the third lane so that somebody that you don't even see the indicator because the bumper to bumper swings over, and now what?
Mm-hmm.
You hit the car and you're flying over the hood. It's so unnecessary. To do what? To go to a job that you're not even excited to go to? Go late.
Stop that. Not go late.
I'm just saying, a lot of people, I ask them like, where are you rushing to? They have there's no real good excuse as to where they're going. I'm going to the store. If you want to speed and you need a rush, take a trip, go away,
you have a little bit more space.
Ride a roller coaster, get your adrenaline rush, and come back.
Hopefully that'll last you for the year because you don't need to be doing this type of trip just to get your adrenaline rush. But I totally get the sentiments. And speaking of Judy's fine for her speeding ticket, she says, nope, my mom was not paying for that fine. Yes, so she had to put in that work to get the money for that fine. And before we wrap up this conversation, Janae, Jack,
What I hate the most though is people riding rackets and overtaking with the child on the back. It drives me crazy. Of the bike, I witnessed someone run a red light with a child on the back, shaking my head. Actually, speaking on this, somebody overtook me. What day did I have to ride him in the rain?
Saturday.
Yes, somebody overtook me, and I was like, "Why are you riding like the oil isn't gonna be slick?" And then when it overtook me, and I actually looked, there was a child on the back. So I wanted to I actually wanted to go chase the person down and be like, what in the entire?
Right.
And I was just like, nope, because that could cause an accident. And I just was like, pray to God, because that I know that Trimmingham roundabout, I've seen a lot of people slide out. So I was just like, as I'm trying to go Harbor Road, I'm just like, I just pray that this person is smart once they get to the top of the hill.
Right. Because maybe they and then the excuse comes, but it was raining. I was trying to get out of the rain, but it's like rain makes the road conditions 10 times worse, 100 times worse. So
the faster you go, the lighter you are. So you're easily manipulated by the wind that comes with
exactly.
So it's extra dangerous. Pull over, take out your cell phone, let your child play on a game or play numbers, play some hand games, whatever the case may be, and rake the rain out. In Bermuda, it doesn't take that long typically to pass.
And even if it does, you have some quality time with your child.
Yeah, while you're not got road rash.
Exactly. On that note, Jack and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our feel-good topic of the day. So make sure you do not go anywhere, because Jackie and I will be right back.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you're watching. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share the link. And if you're on YouTube, do the same. Those folks that usually watch on Twitter are going to have to hop over to Facebook or YouTube, because Twitter is still doing its thing today. So we're our feel-good topic of the day. We're talking about Bermuda's art community. And we kind of want to start by asking y'all, what types of art do you enjoy? Because I feel like when we start this conversation, when we talk about art, most people think about visual art, painting, sculpture, and all that good jazz. But there's other art forms. So what types of art do you enjoy? Jack, I'm going to let you start, because I like when you start.
So my favorite, I feel like, is music.
I feel like that was what you're going to say to yourself.
I feel like, as I'm saying, I feel like everybody's just like, it's music. The girl just listens to her music. Yeah,
she sings lyrics when we talk.
This is it. I feel like that's the light bulb. Jack's going to say music. Yeah, no, I do prefer music. There have been a few showcases at Buna Cafe. Hannah Egan is back on island, so I do want to try and get up to her. I've missed them, so hopefully the next one I can go to. And if not, my other favorite form of art is like a little comedy show. I know most people won't put that underneath the art, but that is an art. It is. I know I'm saying typical person's not going to say, oh, I wouldn't have categorized
thought of that.
Comedy, but I love, I like my little Wednesday night vibe, no ass, as Terry says. Can't wait for that to come back. But no, I do love listening to people's version of music. There's so many different variations, sounds, whatever the case may be, and I just like their interpretation of how a song could have been sang. So how they will do a remix, or what's the word? A cover song.
Yeah.
Love listening to covers. A lot of my TikToks, I'll be listening to somebody, or even their version of a meditation song. So they'll have how you'd hear in the background, the humming. They'll add words to it. And there's a few people that I've found on TikTok that do that, and amazing voices. And yeah.
It's the little emoji at the end for me. Hilarious. So Carlton Fleming in the audience says, I like photography, still life. I actually like photography as well. I think it's a really interesting art form because like we all have devices where we think we can be photographers, right? But it's not as easy to snap to compose a picture on your camera as we think.
I like the candid ones that photographers catch. The
Same.
ones that like I've seen some of myself and I am not, don't ask me to pose. Please don't
Oh
ask.
my gosh, yo.
I
Yo.
will be your biggest cheerleader at a photo shoot. But the moment you're like Jack pose, I'm just like, school picture.
No, seriously. So we have to give you guys this backstory as you're answering in the comments your favorite type of art. So we did a photo shoot together. And so I let Jackie go first because I'm like, Jack has got this. Like I always let Jackie go first. So Jackie's going first, and like the first few shots, she's like doing them, but then she like I don't like photography. I feel like my smile's always fake. I don't know what to do. And I was like, sis, all of these pictures are looking great. What are you talking about? Get out of your head and just enjoy the moment. And then so we had to do some candid shots. And like those are the ones she likes the best because she's not posing per se. I'm like,
talk and you take flicks. That's it.
oh my
Let me
gosh.
dance and you take pictures. I need you to catch me like I don't know anybody is watching. When I'm not watching and I'm just living my life, those are my favorite pictures.
But I do think that brand of photography is a great brand too, right? Because I do feel like Jackie's not the only one. I'm pretty sure there's someone in the audience that's watching, maybe not saying it in the comments, that feels that way. Because I felt that way sometimes too. Like some of these poses feel forced, and I feel like sometimes the candidates are a little bit better because it's your essence in that moment, whereas you don't have to like put on the essence. And models is a great form of art in my opinion because sometimes they're able to make this entire character out of this clothes that they're wearing, the background, the scenery, all that type of stuff. So I definitely feel like it's definitely a skill set that not all of us have. So
I used to love watching America's Next Top Model.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite show.
Because the stuff that they'd be like, what's her name?
Tyra Banks?
No, the other one. She had the spot on her hand and she was freaking out.
Eva.
Eva.
Eva the diva.
Yes, when she was freaking out, that would have been me, but I wouldn't have been able to get those pictures.
But exactly like the way she was able to like
compose
herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love. Oh my god, yeah, photography is top notch.
It is, and I do think like, and there's a lot of new creatives. So there's Dion the creative, there is Jade, there are a lot of new photographers that I've seen. This young lady named Simeon, Michael Oldboy, there's Mike Moss, I think his name is. I don't know if he does photography or videography or both, but there's like a bunch of new people that I've seen on social media, like, you know, putting out their artwork. And it's just amazing to see so many creatives like finally putting themselves out there in a space that, you know, wasn't always celebrated. It wasn't always like talked about, or we didn't allow people to express themselves in that way because you can't get a job at Bermuda as a photographer.
You know who I'm actually looking forward to? I saw Neil J. Morris, our friend, I saw him post that he might be doing another showcase. And the last time I spoke to him, he was working on some art. And his last showcase that was at Cocoa Reef was brilliant. So I'm looking forward to his next showing.
I do like paintings as well. I do feel like paintings are. So I took art class at Bermuda College, and I was able to like do this one piece. I swear I don't know how it happened, but I was able to do this one piece that was dope. I felt so great. But then that was it. That's all I could do the whole semester. Like that was the only thing that came out really good. But just like fine visual art, like actually the painting, whether it's a drawing, like that type of art to me is just so amazing to watch people do and like see like, you know, their concept, their sketch to their final painting. To me is like an amazing thing to watch. Like, and there's another young lady, Kayla, she's on TikTok and I see her on Twitter. Private Islander, I think is her handle, but she's done like some TikToks where she's shown like her process, like how she goes from the sketches and creates the art. And it's just, those are like, you know, those satisfying videos that you're just like watching someone pour something or someone draw. And like, it's one of those videos like this is very satisfying to watch. Like,
I think there was actually an exhibit that opened up at City Hall this month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure of what the name was, but I know a friend, Carlos. What is Carlos's last name?
Santana. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, we call him Carlos Santana.
Okay, that's what we call him because I don't know Carlos's last name.
Oh, like, is it Jennings? No, it's not Jennings.
I don't know either. Neil's supposed to be watching. That's Neil's cousin. He should be telling us.
Neil's unbelievable. Anywho, and we're gonna have a conversation with him. I'm in love with elephants, and he had done one. And honestly, if anybody wants to buy it for me, just link me because.
No, link Carlos and then gift it to Jacky.
Just gift it to me. Valentine's is coming up. My birthday is
hint. Valentine's is coming up. That would be an excellent gift.
I got gifts too. Don't worry. I give gifts.
Speaking of exhibits, I did want to talk about, like, what was a memorable art exhibit that you've been to? And so using the word exhibit was kind of like leading to just the visual art. But I do want to talk about like things like concerts or even showcases, because those are other ways that people express their art outside. But I do think an exhibit kind of like encompasses the whole idea of art presentations, where like, concerts are an art presentation, but we just don't talk about it in that type of sense. I kind of wanted to change the narrative on how we talk about art so that it's all like encompassing. So I don't like the division, me, Jack. I don't like that stuff. So what's the one that you went to? So you talked about the one for Carlos. Is there another one that you've been to recently, or just in general? Like, not even, it doesn't have to have been within the last month or year.
I actually brought up Neil J's one that I was at Cocoa Reef, because they had some people that were singing. He had models that had actually was carrying the artwork around to the tables and to people to see, and it was beautiful because it wasn't just he picked a song and press play. No, he put a lot of work into it. So there was spoken word over it. He was telling the story. He told the story about how he came to make this actual showcase and the story behind it, his losses, his wins, all of it. And honestly, he's actually brilliant. So that's why I said I'm really looking forward to the next one.
Speaking of, Neil Jason says it's way too early for that boy to be up.
I know, it is.
It really is. We love him. He'll watch the replay and just hear us talking about him. So Monica Dunson says, I really enjoyed the Gumbe Festival at Botanical Gardens a few years ago. I have been meaning to get to this. And then Rona. Just her. Her. Tell us what you liked about it, Monica, because I've seen, like, I think I want to say the Department of Culture put it on. And I definitely think that type of art exhibit is so cool to experience, because I know we see them on Boxing Day, New Year's Day, May 24th. Like, you do see them at like the special traditional holidays, but it's always nice to like see them being presented in a way that's not just the traditional, because I feel like they deserve to be, have a platform, like a showcase or a stage to actually really like show like this culture, this type of art is to be celebrated. So I cannot wait to go to that thing. Like, I'm salty I haven't been.
The next one I do want to go to, the next showcasing or whatever you want to call it, artsy exhibit I want to go to is I actually want to go to an Adele concert.
Okay, I can see that.
Why? No, pass me that mic.
That's what I'm saying. She's gonna put a Little Mama. So she tried to punk Little Mama for the who. That one time I asked that trivia question, and I was like, "Who sang the song?" And she was like, "Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, and Little Mama." Jack is gonna have her own Little Mama moment, and we're all gonna be looking at her like, "This girl." But why Adele?
Classes, you know how Beyonce will be like, "Ooh, sing," and then the person can really sing. I just want one of those moments.
You want that moment? Okay, cute. I was like, you're not gonna just walk up on an Adele stage.
No way. I do want to be that person. She's just like, "Are you okay?" "No, I'm not okay. Come give me a hug." And I'm just like,
So Adele is your presence. So you would like to see an Adele concert?
Yeah, like Adele.
Have you never been to one?
No, I've never been to an Adele concert.
Gotcha. Got it. Okay, it makes sense.
I love her music. Her voice is insane. Or even like a Sam Smith. Like, her voices are just beautiful. I want to go to an opera as well.
Jackie just went from Adele Sam Smith to opera
Right,
in the
you're right,
same conversation.
everything's just like ting, ting, ting. There's no
In the same
no
conversation.
formula up here. There's no formula up here.
Coming back to the audience, so Monica Dunson says Black had a listening party for his album a few years ago, which was really nice too. See, this needs to be happening as more often, because I do remember seeing J3 had a listening party for her recent album as well, and she invited some industry folks to do it at Buna as well. I think it was the location that she had it. And like, more of this needs to be highlighted, because it takes a lot of work for artists to put together their body of work. And so a listening party and like celebrating them, live performances, all of that should definitely be a part of their story.
I definitely regret not going Tuesday. I used to always be like, oh, I'll go next week. Oh, I'll go next week. Because I was nervous that I'd go and Sumner would be like, oh, Jack's here, come up. Because, you know, he always wants to try and include me in his art.
He does.
I don't have a spoken word. Like, what am I going to talk about? Like,
you know what's interesting? I mean, we're supposed to be having a moment where Jacky performed at Wednesday Night Vibe, so we'll see if that happens. However, I think when Sean was on our show, Mr. Photogenic, Sean Simmons, when he was talking about like how he just started doing it, I think that's probably just going to be your story, Jack. You're just going to have to start randomly and just have a random conversation, and it'll evolve. It'll evolve into your Wednesday Night Vibe comedy set. Jack is gonna have a whole comedy show, y'all. We're gonna see Jacky on Netflix, or the version of streaming service that is super popular at that time. And we're all gonna pull this episode up and be like, see, Jacky, remember when you said comedy was an art? You're the artist now.
I don't think I'm funny there. I think it is like, really, you said that? Like, what?
That is a brand of comedy. Like, I don't know if you've seen some of the female comedians, but some of them are legit. Like, I wouldn't say they're not funny. They just present real life situations, and then the reactions to those real life situations is what makes the comedy. So don't be trying to don yourself over there. Come back to the audience while you sit in your corner. So Jody Ryder says, I love the pictures of our athletes that are at Boundary Restaurant, and know we as a country need a national gallery to recognize our history. Absolutely. I don't understand why we don't have something like that. Like, we're going Cody Premer, getting him on this conversation.
Because the Earl Barkley, like, what is it really used for? Why can't we refurbish it? And
that would be nice.
As like a wicked gallery.
That would be nice.
Walk through the school and see everybody. Like,
I wonder what the board of directors of Barkley are doing over there. We need to get them on the show.
I think they're just renting out these spaces.
They do rent out these spaces, but
how many spaces are actually being rented?
It would be nice if it was a full type of cohesive something, like how Barkley, the school, was a cohesive something, was a place to get educated. I definitely think we should reach out to him.
That'd be wicked. And then you could use the auditorium as the
main space.
Yeah.
Like the whatever the showcase of the month or the quarter is, that could be like their space, and then you have little exhibits all around the other parts of the building.
Use the facility for like the Wednesday Night Vibe, or
even the auditorium. That'd be dope.
Yeah, use it for concerts, like little concerts, like local.
Exactly. To get our artists, because like even Janae says this, listen, Bermudians are super duper talented. Like, if they had spaces where they could, put on these art showcases.
And the assembly was always bomb.
It would just be so great. That's a thought that Jacky is just giving that away for free. We hope someone is watching that's going to take it on.
It's only free if you use it.
Yeah. It's going to waste. So Jody Verger says, I went to a Prince concert some years back, a few years before he passed. It was amazing. Listen, he looked like an artist that would have had an amazing show. I'm kind of sad that I didn't go, but I don't really know Prince's music like that. Like, I know it, but I don't know it enough to be excited to go to one of his concerts.
My aunt used to blast it. I don't think she still does.
Of course she does. She didn't stop.
Yeah. No, I mean like blast it.
You just ain't been around the house for her to
You're right. As I'm sitting here, I'm like, Terry's right. Why are you arguing?
I'm like, full well. That lady still blast that.
Love her.
So we're going to come back to the audience. Karen Simmons says, yes, got one when I was in Bermuda College, Harrington Sound racing to class. So this is in reference to the speeding tickets we asked earlier. If you had received a speeding ticket, and she mentioned that she got it. And it's interesting. It's usually, I mean, not saying that there is not an excuse, but there's usually a reason why people are speeding. However, sometimes the reasons are not that valid, because if you're late, you're late. Like if you're already late and you get in an accident, you're never going to get there. So
when I was in school, my outlook on being late was like, well, I guess I'll go to the store and get some food. I'm already late.
Might as well milk the lateness.
Like I used to walk into class and I'll have like a grocery bag and the teacher would be like, why are you late? Well, I missed the ferry. And she's like, well, yeah, the groceries. Well, I was already late. So like, might as well get some snacks for the day.
Hello, errand to run.
Attention.
Hello, errand to run. So you know, sort it out. So speaking of the celebration, well, the gallery, that idea we have of the Barclay Institute, Judy Burgess says, and celebrate our current athletes too, Jack. So you're going to be a part of that. So at the Boundary, maybe we'll get you a little picture.
To take pictures. He got some great footage when I'm playing my matches, so I do have some stuff. But I have to get him my stats and my history, like how long I was reigning as number one and all that stuff. And I just don't have that history with me. Like,
what you mean? Isn't it like at the
I have to ask. I have to go and ask, and then they'd have to go and look through all the files because it's not digitized. It's not like it's.
That's a project that should be digitized so that it's easy for us to find this information.
I agree. Been saying that for years.
And it's not okay. We'll pin that. We'll come back to that one in a future conversation. Wrapping up with this comment from Janae. She says we need to bring back talent and fashion shows for the youth. Wait, they don't do this?
I mean, UDP. Some is the School of Dance.
Jackson's is still kicking.
Yeah, but they can't. I don't know if they did fashion shows. I think fashion shows would be. I miss fashion shows.
Yeah, it was style and fashion. They had like style. Bermuda used to be a thing. These guys, they're just missing out on all the good stuff. It's okay. Someone is interested in this, and they're gonna bring it back because we need the creative outlets. Because even fashion is a form of art. Like if you haven't seen Insecure and you haven't seen those outfits that Sheena put together, I don't know. That's work of art.
That's what my watch is gonna be for this weekend. I know it's what's today? Wednesday? Hump day. So on Friday and Saturday, I'm gonna watch Insecure.
Are you gonna catch? You're gonna binge watch? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
How many seasons is it? Like 7?
5. It's 5.
And how many episodes per season? Yeah.
Around 10 or 12, I think. It's not that many.
I'm knocking this out this weekend.
So we're gonna talk about that next week. Boom, we have just made Jackie. We have forced Jackie now to watch Insecure. You absolutely have gotten it back. On that note, Jackie and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our feel-good vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. So stick around if you want to get a laugh to get your morning started. Jackie and I will be right back.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us, it is time for us to get into our feel-good vibe of the day. This is Joke Time with Jackie, and all we have to do as the listening, participating audience is laugh. If you're watching on Facebook, you can react using the laughing emoji or laughing reaction. And if you're on YouTube, just drop your favorite laughing emoji in the comments, because Jackie has the corniest dad jokes. And sometimes the answers are like really on point, like they're really hilarious. And sometimes they make no sense, but it's still funny. So on that note, Jack, over to you.
Okay, what subject in school do cattle like the most?
Cattle? Calculus? Catalyst?
Yes! You got it! Calculus! How do you know this one? Did you know that one?
No, but last time you did something algebra, the mermaid something.
Oh.
So I was like, it's got to be something like that.
Okay, well, here you go. Why are fish so smart?
Oh, jeez, I should give you that. Why are fish so smart? I don't know.
Because they're always in schools.
They are always in schools.
Okay, last joke. Okay. A father and a son are driving down the street and they pass a cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Dad goes to the son. Hey, son, you see that cemetery over there? And he's just like, yeah, what about it? And he's just like, you know, people are just dying to get in there. To which the son goes, Dad, and he's just like, sorry.
Like,
no, but really, son, I can't be buried in there. The son goes, why? What happened? He's just like, I'm not dead yet. You know this son is fed up.
This big man sitting in the side of the car like,
this is going to be the longest drive ever.
Yep. Just speaking about that, though, if you haven't already seen Colin Kaepernick's series, Black and White, on Netflix, check it out, because there is a moment where the dad tells him some dad jokes, and it just reminds me every time of Jackie's jokes, because it's literally the exact same thing. Janae loves your jokes, Jack. So shout out to everyone for joining us on today's episode. As always, we hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the Day has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda, which is supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for more Feel Good conversations. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.